In my 14 years as a photographer and video editor, for 10 of those years, I used an ordinary office chair. In the last 4 years, I have spent testing gaming chairs just so I could make this video. Now, if you're watching this video, you're probably a photographer or video editor that spends a lot of the time sitting in front of the computer for hours on end. So why am I making this video? Well, 4 years ago, I got my hands on a gaming chair and I wanted to make a video, but that would essentially make my video like everyone else's. A premature experience of a product giving you advice. And that's not what this channel is about. I want to give you solid advice that's tried and tested. So when Vertagear reached out after all these years, the need sparked to make this video once again. The vicious circle of buying a chair. This was me. I'd look at a gaming chair of $400 or 9,000 Rand and think to myself I could buy 3 or 4 office chairs that would outlast that gaming chair, so why not just do that? So naturally that was the route. The reality of an office chair is they feel comfortable in the store. You take them home and after 2, 3, 4 months of 4 to 8 hours a day, that office chair starts to sag. The cushioning usually collapsed, the leather would peel off everywhere, and it just became the start of another vicious circle. I got to a point where I bought a back brace because I blamed my sore back on the Ninja Walk carrying gimbals permanently for every single job. I then blamed it on taking long baths, maybe too long at night, and possibly that was the cause of my back pain. Fast forward numerous years of repeating the same logic and buying an office chair over and over again, Michelle and I decided to buy a pair of gaming chairs. One for me and one for her. I'll be honest, sitting on a gaming chair in a store is absolutely terrible. They feel contourless, very hard, and somewhat uncomfortable. But the need sparked for me to try why every single gamer is using these kind of chairs. Is it the look? Is it the aesthetic? Or is it just a hype? This gives you that thought of maybe you should buy an office chair once again. But needless to say, we pushed through, and here we are 4 years later. These gaming chairs have become more and more comfortable. My back pain went away. There's not a single loose thread on these chairs, and they look as good as we bought them on day one. Honestly, one thing I find with gaming chairs is your posture literally goes from sitting like this to sitting like this. Now you're probably thinking, well, I've watched a review on YouTube and someone said it's not comfortable. Perhaps you've sat in one and had the same thought, and they're not comfortable at first. Much like a car seat, they're made fairly firm. Not just that, but they tend to last longer like a car seat with long hours of driving. And over time, it gets more and more comfortable and that seat contours more to your body. So for a minute, let's just say you're looking at a gaming chair and you decided you're going to jump the fence. What should you look for? I'm going to list this in 3 parts, from the least important to the most important. So starting with the least important at number 3, and that is the look. The look of a chair is very important. I don't care what anyone says. There is nothing better than coming to your office, your space, and trying to be creative in a space that you love. Much like getting a new computer screen or a mouse pad or a keyboard that you're excited to use, a chair that looks good in an office space for you is something that is very important. And there's something about the Vertagear chair that honestly gives me the feels. One thing about Vertagear, when you go on their website, they've got an array of colors that will suit any enthusiast. And this gets me to number 2, build quality. After buying an office chair every 2 to 3 years, and by the time you get to 3 years with an office chair, it's literally disintegrated. It's at the point where it's no longer usable and you're pretty much sitting on the frame and the leatherette is starting to lie on the floor. But gaming chairs that are in this price bracket are just built different. When it comes to Vertagear, their gaming chairs are built like a tank. Now, I have Cougar gaming chairs as well as the Vertagear gaming chair, and to be quite honest, there is just something about Vertagear that feels very, very premium, even though they priced very similarly. When you look at the Vertagear chair, the base of the chair is very, very solid where the wheels sit. The wheels themselves are very premium. Your little 3D or 4D armrests have metal clasps on them that are very, very solid, very, very premium, and cold to the touch. Unlike a lot of gaming chairs, are very plasticky and they just feel very creaky when you move them. Now this kind of mixes in with build quality and the look and the style, but Vertagear allows you to customize your chairs with RGB lights. Yes, in these little gaps over here, you can actually get original Vertagear parts that fit in there that are RGB, sync with your computer, even lights underneath. It's like a Fast and Furious creative scene. Okay, so the look is there, the build quality is there, and this is the most important part. Number one, comfort. And I know you're thinking, well, this is pretty obvious, but there's a lot to consider when it comes to the comfort of a gaming chair. I'm by no means a big guy, and although armrests like these can move in and out, there's something about the Cougar gaming chairs that are just a little bit spaced apart. Even when moved into their minimum width, you still feel as if you're sitting with your elbows stretched out a bit. Also, when you shift on your chair, in something like the Cougar gaming chair, the armrest tends to shoot out. Whereas with the Vertagear gaming chair, you have these buttons that you have to press to release the sideways movement. These are the little things that I'm pointing out when it gets to comfort. It's small things like this over hours and hours of editing that really add to the premium style of a chair. A little side note on the armrests. One of the things when you're buying a chair, you always look at the armrests. And office chairs have this kind of plush, leatherette, spongy feel. And as you know, after 3-4 months, it turns into this rock hard, bottomless pit that just literally hurts your elbows. Now with gaming chairs like Vertagear and Cougar, you have these rubber styled armrests that when you sit on it the first time and you feel it, they feel fairly hard, but with a little push you can feel that there is some give. Now after long hours of editing, it is actually quite comfortable. Not just that, after 4 years of hours and hours of use, they don't wear down like the leatherette office chair counterparts. Then you get to lumbar support. The Cougar has a pillow at the back, and although it does feel great, for someone like me, perhaps if you're a slightly larger person, you'd want to remove that pillow. Unfortunately, when you remove that pillow, there is no more lumbar support. Now looking at something like the Vertagear gaming chairs, they have built-in lumbar support without a pillow. The Vertagear has memory foam located over TPEE modules in the lumbar support, giving you lumbar support that you feel, but it's not really obtrusive. On that note of comfort, Vertagear actually has a size chart on their website talking about your height as well as your weight and what chair they would recommend you to buy, just so they can maximize the comfort that you get. Alright, so then there's this design from Vertagear called the waterfall design. Now for me, I'm in two minds about this, just hear me out. Personally, I'm a little short, so the extended support under my legs feels better without the waterfall design. However, this also depends on if your chair is low enough for your feet to touch the ground, as the sharp edge from most chairs does give you the feeling that the blood flow cuts off to your feet. If your chair is lower to the ground, the waterfall design definitely feels a lot better, as your feet can be planted and you don't have that obtrusive cut into the back of your calf muscle. So from armrest positioning to lumbar support, seat height, and obviously reclining, which these kind of chairs can do, you need to pick a chair that's not only right for you, but as well as for your desk setup. Conclusion: should you, as a photographer or video editor or someone that is tired of buying the ordinary office chair over and over year after year, should you look at buying a gaming chair? The answer is definitely. I've given you some pros and cons of looking at the Cougar to the Vertagear. I find that the Vertagear is a lot more premium on build quality, but for someone like myself that is my size and weight, the Vertagear is a much more comfortable chair. So when I look at it from premium to comfort, this is a great buy. Walking into a store, sitting down and deciding on that chair if you're going to buy it is not the way to buy a chair. It's years and years of experience, like we have tested. That is the only way you're going to get a complete outcome and decision as to if it's going to be good enough for you. Also, just a massive shout out to Vertagear, the sleek, cool design of the chair. Michelle is now fighting with me because she wants a Vertagear chair in the office, and obviously they don't match now in the office. So thanks, Vertagear. That's it from me. I hope I could answer this and give you some insight, because 4 years ago when we moved into gaming chairs, I couldn't find a single video from a photographer or videographer that could speak the truth about whether buying a gaming chair is the right move. So here it is. Thanks for watching wherever you are in the world. Have a good day, good evening, good night. Goodbye.